Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And I got Kevin Turner. We're going to keep rocking the house today with LinkedIn. So, Kevin D. Turner, welcome, welcome, welcome. And before we get stuck in, I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't know who you are, but go ahead and please introduce yourself anyway.
Well, before I even do that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. You run an incredible show. I don't know how you do it every single week, and you keep coming up with new ideas, and you make it easy on the guests. So I think you do a lot of thinking for us. And so we can come in and just be ourselves and get things going, right? And help other people. And I love that very few people have that talent. So I wanted to say thank you. And thank you for having me. Now, I'm Kevin Turner, right? Kevin D. Turner. I always have that D in there. That distinguishes me from a couple other famous Kevin Turners. Football player, Microsoft, Walmart. So I'm not them, but they're mad at me that I've out SEO'd them. When anybody Googles for Kevin Turner, they get me first. So I like that. They don't like it. That's fine. What I do is help people get their message right, help organizations get their message right. I call it kind of brand to land, in the sense that what we want to do is get people to always know what we do, what we bring to the table, how we can help them at any moment. If they need it, they know where to find us, right? And that's kind of this brand to land. And land, it doesn't mean a new job. It could be, right? Or a new customer. It could be just a new opportunity. That's brand to land. You're already setting it up to basically have to not do these kind of hard lead sales pitches and all that kind of stuff. You're bringing them into you. They like you, they love you, they trust you. You've already built that reputation and brand. So that's what I do. The other piece that I love to do is eliminate personal branding. And that's when people just go, oh, I've done so much stuff, I'm going to throw it all in there and everybody's going to get it, right? They'll figure it out. They'll sort it out. They'll know exactly what I do. And they just throw everything. It's the kitchen sink approach, or it's the opposite. I'm not going to tell them anything because I don't want to be labeled, right? And that doesn't work either. So that's what I love to do, is kind of eliminate personal branding, make it personal branding. So that's me. That's what I live for. And I do enjoy LinkedIn because to me, it's the number one place that we as individuals have the ability to basically run our brand. And there's places on the internet that does, right? So this is our place. We gotta take it over.
I love it. I love it. And we're talking about a relatively new feature. And that's also another thing that you do, Kevin. You're the king of the new features. It's like, I don't know what we're up to, 103 or something. You did an article
this morning. So and some of them I'm not even calling features anymore. So I don't give them a number. They're like updates, they're changes, they're UXs that are different. So I don't even call those a feature. So I'm just putting them in there as an update now. But it's incredible. I mean, the speed that LinkedIn has changed over the last few years. Before, 3 years ago, I was able to pretty much do this by myself. There is no way I can. And, I always say that I owe this to so many eagle-eyed, sharing heart contributors. You're one of them. You've spotted a bunch this year. And so I share that very, openly right there in the list, in the posts, all that stuff, because I could never do it alone. And nobody really should ever think that they should go alone on LinkedIn. You don't have to. That old African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's a lot of what we do. And that ties right into those collaborative articles, because it's the community that's coming together to bring the content to the table of those articles so that we can go together, so people can learn and we can exchange ideas and build from there. So I love that part of collaborative articles.
I love that. I love that. So our topic today is earning a LinkedIn Community Top Voice Badge. This is 100% tied to collaborative articles. So it's kind of two topics in one, but the emphasis is on the word community, because just like you said a moment ago, it takes a village. it takes a village to earn one of these badges. You can't just, get out and do it by yourself and just say, I don't need my community. You need a community for this. So Kevin, you have one of these badges. I don't, I'm trying, but it's not easy. It's not easy because it's a two-part process. And so can you just, for anybody who doesn't even know about this program, can you just walk them through how do you earn the badge?
Well, I'm gonna take it one step back. On LinkedIn there was always influencers, right? These were like movie stars on LinkedIn, right? They got extra push, they dominated our feed. LinkedIn said, you know what, no more of that. We're going to take away influencers. There's no influencers anymore. We're going to throw them into top voices, right? And top voices was always kind of a celebutante competition, right? If the LinkedIn news editors liked you, liked the content you put out there, then they would anoint you as a top voice. You didn't have to earn it. The community on LinkedIn didn't say you had it per se, but those editors did. And they're smart people, so they should know something. And everybody I've run into as a top voice deserves the top voice. They're really sharp people. But LinkedIn said, you know what? We always have the same top voices all the time. And we need to find new top voices, right? So that's really where this concept came up, was to create a community top voice. And that basically means you get invited in because they know you have a particular skill that's in demand, right? People want to know about it. People want to get better at it. And this is kind of LinkedIn's skill, hire for skills, right? And all that. So they said, if you have that presence on your LinkedIn, you got a lot of people endorsing you for those skills, and you're also creating content and commenting and engaging that shows you have those same skills, then we're going to invite you in to start collaborating on articles, right? And if you're in the, originally it was if you're in the top 30% of that particular skill, then they would award you a badge. And the badge is good for 60 days, right? The way you get awarded that badge is not the editors. They no longer have a say. Now it is LinkedIn, the community, your network, maybe even outside of your network, right? Because these articles are open to all 6 degrees on LinkedIn. So very few times do you get that opportunity. You do a post, you're still going to be limited within your 3 degrees. Your network is who can see your post. Outside of your network, they're not going to see it because they can't see you, right? That whole 6 degrees of separation. This is one chance you can be exposed to basically everybody on LinkedIn, right? That to me is incredible. And so that community is who then says, you know what? Gillian's contribution, Kevin's contributions, Bob's, whatever it is, that has a lot of value. And I'm going to click on this button that says, upvote, right? And then they count the upvotes. And if you're supposedly, the way it was, top 30% in that skill set, you got into the badge. Now, I don't know if that top 30% is still what it is, or if they've changed that. Now, I do know that there is a little bit of human intervention in the process as well. Some of the things that they're going to look for in the content that you're sharing, right, is they want to see a personal value add. So you could put content out there that scores well, gets upvoted well, but they want to see the individuals getting these badges are the ones who are sharing that experience. You could talk about, for me, I talk about hiring over 200 people internationally, building offices in Hong Kong, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. That helps set my story when I'm making my comments, and they're looking for that. So there's a little human intervention in there. There's a little guidance on top of the votes, but the votes are really what pushes it forward. And I find that fascinating.
So I did not realize this. So let me just clarify. So when there's an article and say I respond to it and I'm a contributor, people outside my network? Is it like everyone on LinkedIn can see these
Anybody can
articles?
see
Like,
the articles, and they can
wow.
see your comment on there. Whereas if they tried to go to your profile, they probably, if they were outside of your third degree, they wouldn't even be able to see your profile. But they can
Hmm.
see your comment and they can upvote you if it is of value. Now, what's nice about that is now it's not just friends and family making us look good, right? It's everybody. And I think that's
Mm,
really kind of a cool system. And they kind of taken it away technically from the editors, these news editors choosing people, right? To the system choosing them. And what
right.
I find fascinating is, this is still a beta. Most people don't realize that. They didn't tell anybody that, but now they're starting to say it, right? A little bit
Mm,
in some of the conversations. This is a beta. They're figuring it out. It's not ironed out, right? It's evolving. Even the name has changed.
mm,
When this first launched, it was called AI powered collaborative articles. And the collaborative was small, right?
mm.
Like LinkedIn. Oh, the first word's always big, right? Big letter, capital. They got rid of the AI powered and they just went now to collaborative articles. Now, that tells me a couple of things. Not everybody's impressed with AI, right?
Mm.
Or they don't really want to read an article that sounds like AI wrote it, right? I can do that all the time. I could just go to ChatGPT and write my own personal ones that I could read if I wanted that, right? So I think what LinkedIn is kind of telling us in this process is, although AI can create a base of an article, it can't put in the value into that article that human experience can.
Mm.
And that's the contributors, the collaborators, right? And that's why it now became collaborative article, big C, little a. That's the definition of it now, because they know that the collaborative part is the most important. That's the people bringing something to the table that basically a computer software program doesn't have, or if it did, it might have pretended it had, but it really doesn't, right? So it's that personal experience piece that LinkedIn is now realizing. So to me, we think about LinkedIn, it's had a new owner for a while, right? Microsoft invested heavily into ChatGTP. That's why we're seeing a lot of AI features come out on LinkedIn. I think it's why some of the regular features have slowed down, because they're focusing on more AI. That in that process that they're bringing these in, every single AI feature that LinkedIn is bringing in, it's always saying, look at it first, edit it, make it yours, because this is just basic stuff. It's not the solution.
Mm.
And so this is really LinkedIn admitting that, hey, it can be a muse, right? AI can be a muse, but it's not an artist.
Mm.
And so by doing this, it's really them saying, we need you, we need your input. And I think that's fantastic. And as these editors are managing, they actually start the process, right? They go in to their access into ChatGTP, I'm sure. They go in there and they start writing about certain skills, certain topics, right? They give prompts, and then the AI creates the base article for them.
Mm.
And we come in and make that base something fantastic. And I think to me, that's really kind of a neat creation process.
I love that. I love that. And I love that they're Google searchable, so that, they're getting indexed by
Oh
Google,
yeah,
so that now
immediately.
people will come to LinkedIn if
Mhm.
they're, typing and saying, "Hey, I want to learn about resumes, or I want to learn about live streaming or whatever," and it will bring up those topics. So
Well,
I think that's
and
pretty
here's
cool.
here's the crazy thing. The reason that, all these big search engines are indexing this stuff immediately is because it appears as if it was written by the editors, the news editors for LinkedIn. And they've always immediately indexed those articles that they wrote. So we're getting the same
SEO juice.
yeah, exactly, as these news editors are getting. And interesting enough, I didn't do this on purpose. There was a comment that I made that I redirected it to a YouTube video on LinkedIn's ATS resume formatter, right? And I put the link in there. Guess what has happened to that particular video on my YouTube channel?
I'm hoping it went up. Like,
it's like
lots of
2
views.
times any of the other videos, and it's not my best video. And I know it's because it was indexed. And now if you go into Google and you put ATS LinkedIn, it's the top, resource that comes out. And I know that it was all related to the exposure, right, from that indexing of these articles, because they're looked upon as if they were LinkedIn news editor articles. So
interesting.
Exposure is incredible.
So external links are not penalized in these contributions then?
One of the things they've said is you should, best practices of LinkedIn, obviously, right? You shouldn't be sending them to a lead form or some malicious codes or anything like that.
Or just your website for just website's sake.
Yeah, if you're throwing it in there, it better have purpose behind your conversation. Right?
Got it.
And they said, if you get too self-promotional, at any moment, they can pull your badge and your ability to contribute. So there's kind of a delicate balance between that, right?
Walk the tightrope.
Exactly. So if you're gonna put a link in there, yes, it will take the link. Yes, that link will get indexed, which is really cool. But if you do too much of it, you could lose the opportunity to continue on.
Got it.
I will tell you, one of the things that I find fascinating is there's a lot of people who were given the opportunity to do this and have walked away. So I'm just not going to do it, right? There's a lot of people who want to do it, can't get in, right? So they're still trying to figure out what that is. What does that look like? And, how do we get the right people in there that want to participate in it? And I think they're going to get better at that. They're supposed to very soon, if you're reading these articles, because they know, right? If you're reading them, if you're sharing them as part of your feed and making comments on them that way, right? You're collaborating that way. If you are upvoting, they recognize that, and then they start the analysis on you. So if you want to become, one of these collaborators, you've got to participate in the process right now at that level to get to the next level, to get kind of the review and bring in, right? And I've known a few people who've successfully pulled it off very quickly within a matter of 3-4 weeks. I've known other people who have struggled with it. Again, there's a lot of dynamics there, so I don't know exactly what that answer is, but it is there. It's possible. To me, if we look at there's a group, right? The collaborative articles, it's a closed group. If you look out how many participants are in there, I don't know if you looked at that.
Yeah, it's like 300 plus or something.
That is, when you think about it, people who are doing this are actively in that group. That's a very, very small percentage of almost 1 billion people.
Yeah, that's like a tiny beta group.
Yeah. So if you're in there, do it. If you want to be in that group, start courting the process, right? Because I think there's a huge advantage with everything that's going on with AI, with Microsoft, with LinkedIn. The people who are in here and participating and helping others on LinkedIn, because that's one of the best reasons to be here, right? They will be rewarded. And yeah, it's a little bit of a clunky system. There are things that we would love to see improved, but it is a system, it's working, and there's a lot of advantages into participating in it. So I think, people should look at it in that sense. It's not perfect, but tell me when anything on LinkedIn has been perfect. They're trying to make things for this billion people, almost 1 billion people, right? It's hard to get it perfect, especially with all the code that they build upon. But they're trying and they're making improvements. And that's really about what we're doing right now is discovering what works and what doesn't work.
Exactly. So Kevin, you have you earned your first badge, and people who don't know this, you can actually earn multiple badges. And then if you have more than one, then you can actually choose which one shows up on your profile. So that's kind
Yes.
of nice that you have that power. So
I wish it just said 2 badges, like click here to find out more. Right?
yeah,
And
because
then show them the
they're
list.
not gonna
Right?
click. Yeah.
I don't know why they leave one up where they could just say, you know, the number of badges you have. I think that would be more impressive. Yeah, so it's a little odd in that sense, but again, hopefully they listen to that feedback and they make those things available, or just let us have badges like a general, right? Just put all those badges on our profile. If we've got 10, let us show
Slide
10.
right. Slide right, like
Right?
your featured section, just keep sliding and you can see all
No,
the
doesn't
badges.
cost anybody anything, right? Give me all my badges.
So essentially you could win a badge, or not win, but you could earn a badge
Yeah.
for any topic. So it's like I could say, oh, I want, or is it really according to your skills? So do you really need to stay in your own lane? Like, would it be ridiculous if I went and I'm going to earn a badge for AI, when that's like not my
Yes
topic?
and no, right? Initially your high ranked skills that you have been writing about on LinkedIn, those are the ones that get you invited. Once you're invited, you can collaborate on any skill article, right? So if you want to do cardiovascular surgery and have some value to add, you could do that and hopefully get some upvotes, right? And get to the top. Now, it is still funny because I think the first badge I ever saw issued, Mindy Hearn got the first badge I ever saw issued. She got it for one comment. And it only had a couple of upvotes. So pick your categories, right, that you're going to compete in by, if you choose something like leadership, right, and there are 1,000 people commenting, collaborating on leadership, getting into that top 30% is going to be tough, right? But you still might want to do that. Then you might want to pick one that's a little less competitive, right, to get a badge. And so look at those things in the sense of how much time you need to put in. Now, I've talked to people who've gotten the leadership badge, and they're talking about 5 to 10 comments every single day, 7 days a week.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
That to me isn't worth that badge, right? But for some people, it absolutely is. And, it is interesting. I've already had people comment to me that, oh, you must know what you're talking about because you have the badge.
So it's building credibility.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, but, it is what it is, because I've always talked about what I talk about. It hasn't changed. Just what has changed is the exposure and the award of that badge, right? So nothing else has changed. I didn't get smarter all of a sudden. Just was able to get the word out there a little further. And so I think that's neat. The other thing, as we're contributing on this, it's one of the few times that our contribution hits our full network feed. So most of the time you could post something and you're lucky if a small percentage of your network actually sees it, or it actually gets into their feed, or they get an email about it, or, notification. Here, if you do it, everybody within your network supposedly will get some type of notification, whether, it's email driven, it's in the notification area, or shows up in the feed. Everybody will get that you've contributed, right, into it. And so to me, that has a value, because not all the time can you post every day, right?
It's a top of mind.
You can have a paragraph, right? You see that, you got a spark. Oh, I know how to answer that. Boom, I'm done. I'm now in the feed constantly when I do that. So I like that. Now, one thing I do is, once you've kind of figured out the skills that you want to compete in, right? And there is one main page. It is actually the skills path page that lists all the categories, right? There's another new page that lists the main categories and then the subcategories once you get into those. That's a little more clunky to me, but some people like that better. It's more visual. But once you've figured those out, go back from the article level back to the skill level and then bookmark it.
Mm.
What that means is every time you open your browser, if I've got time and I want to talk about resume writing or branding or whatever it is, I can click that bookmark, boom, there's the latest collaborative articles for me to comment on. I'm not spending any time trying to chase them around. So I think that's a big plus, a good way to kind of stay organized. I've got to get better at it. So I use that, but I don't do it every day. And, to me, I don't have the time to do it every day. I wish I did.
Yeah. I think we're all learning together. And I like what you started about, that it kind of all goes back to your skills. So that's probably for anybody who's like, okay, I don't have access to this just yet, but this sounds interesting. So when it kind of comes and gets rolled out to me, and I think you can actually click and get on, like if you go to one of the articles, you can say, I would like to be a part of this. And I think you can apply and get on like a wait list or something.
They say,
or did they take
available.
that away?
I've never seen it yet. I think that's rolling out right now, but I haven't physically seen it. So
I wonder if we don't see it, but maybe new people see it. So
well, I've not had anybody send it to me.
So
normally if somebody sees it, they'll say, hey, what's that? But I haven't seen it. And I know some people who've been kind of hot and heavy pursuing this, and they haven't seen it. So the way the wording, I think in the group is it's on its way.
Okay.
Right? So it means it's probably trickling out and then going through the rollout process. But yes, absolutely. But even if you don't see that, if you are liking, the articles, if you are upvoting, and if you are even sharing those articles as part of your content, right, and commenting on them yourself, they do see that and they will recognize that, and they'll invite you in as opposed to you asking to be invited.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So speaking of community, let's hop over to our who has the coveted front row today. We have Mary Wu. She did it. Wow. Gillian Whitney and Kevin D. Turner. Yay, Mary, you got in the front row. Jeff saved it for you. No wonder the joint is standing room only. Well, that's good. Thank you, Mary. We appreciate that. We have Mr. Dan Roth, the other Dan Roth, in the house saying, "May I?"
The Dan Roth.
the Dan Roth. We have Leslie coming in from Florida. Hey, from Florida.
Hey.
We're all over the world today. I'm so excited to see Kevin D. Great. Oh, there we go. We got a new name for you. Kevin D. Great. That's awesome. And we got another Texan in the house. G is here.
Yay.
Sounding in is two of my faves on this hot topic. And G kind of said, hey, there's so much to this. It's kind of a little, not that it's overwhelming or anything, but it's kind of like there's a lot to this. And, there are help topics, correct, Kevin? There are help topics on how this all works. And I think, getting our skills, and this is probably a really good excuse to go get those skills in order on our profiles and just say, because in the beginning, I was getting a lot for SEO, and I was just like, SEO, yuck. But that's because that's
one of your highly rated skills. Yeah.
That was one of my highly rated skills, but that was years ago I was doing SEO. So I moved that on down to the bottom of my profile.
And anytime we're picking our skills, and then you and I have had this conversation a few times, when you're typing in that skill, take from the drop-down box, right? That's your market value filter. That's the one that they're going to see on the other side. If you type it out, make it your own, even spell it the same, but you didn't select from the drop-down box, they might not see you. You might not be in that filter. So make sure you're using the right skills and get them endorsed. Have skill parties, right? Invite 100 of your friends to go say, hey, you know what? I'm going to look at your profile. I'm going to give you every skill I know you have. I'm not going to give you ones I don't, right? But I'm going to give you everyone. Please come to mine, do the same. And, they don't have to. There's no requirement for it. But you'd be surprised how much that will generate and bring those skills up and maybe get you the presence to be then able to collaborate.
Mm-hmm. And, and I've personally found that, like, if you go and endorse somebody and you don't ask for anything, chances are that person will go, oh, that felt kind of nice. maybe I'll go and so even if it's nice if they pay it back to you, but sometimes too, they just pay it forward too. So it's a real quick win to,
absolutely.
and I always think, if you know somebody who's looking for a job, one of the kindest things you could do is skills endorsements and, recommendations. These are just like really doesn't cost any money, folks. It's great.
Absolutely. One of the
So
things
we have,
I was going to say, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people kind of panic with, because really nobody knows with like all this AI that's going out there, who owns the copyright, right? Here's the good thing about LinkedIn. LinkedIn timestamps everything that you produce on LinkedIn. Your agreement that you sign with LinkedIn is you own the copyright of any content you produce on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Whether it's in a collaborative article, whether it's a post, whether it's even a comment, every one of those is recorded and timestamped. If somebody picked up that content, you could on LinkedIn, and I've done this before, you can go to LinkedIn and you can set up a form for copyright infringement, and they will take that other piece down immediately, because all they got to do is look, wow, Kevin put this out 3 weeks ago, you put this out 4 days ago, the words exactly match, or 80% of them, boom, you're out. That's really cool. And the fact that you don't have to worry about it in this sense, that it's going in, you still own it, they're backing you up. And the way Google sits with LinkedIn, indexing everything LinkedIn does, right? The same process is happening. And Google is the #1 engine behind plagiarism checks. So you're safe in that sense. The only time I would ever worry about it is if that user agreement changes and all of a sudden says, well, you kind of do, but you kind of don't, right? Then you can worry. But right now, the way it's all legally set up, we own the rights to it. We give them basic use because they're displaying it on the website, right? But we own it.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, so Kevin, we have reached the end of our 30 minutes, as we knew we would, because this is a huge topic. And we might even need to come back like in a couple of months and just kind of like, where are we at with this? Because I think where we're at today, I think it's evolving and changing. And as more people get in and more people leave, I think this is a different program. So it's, like you said, it's in beta, and I think it's cool.
I think we'll have plenty to talk about. Lots of changes coming, because the group that's behind this is very, very active. So we're hoping some of them have actually showed up today, and we won't be punished for what we say, because we're trying our best, right? We love it, and we want more people to do it.
Yeah, and even we're in the program and we have questions. So it's like there's lots and lots of questions about this. And maybe the thing is that they're like the people running the show are like, well, we're not sure. And it's like we haven't figured that bit out yet. So I think it's like we're just kind of like a little bit at a time, and we're all, I don't know, holding hands and learning together on this one. So it's all good. It's good.
It's always nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today, Kevin. Do you have any so we pretty much, wrapped it up. So is there anything else you'd like to add though, before we say goodbye?
Just enjoy each other, right? Support each other, collaborate with each other. Networking always beats not working, right? Do it, and it will reward you. That's all I can say. And thank you.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here today, Kevin. Thank you for everybody who joined us. And just to give everybody a heads up, moving forward, I'm going to take a month off of LinkedIn Lives. And first time in 3 years, I decided I'm going to take the month of August off. So we're going to have a break, but something interesting is coming. So I will make an announcement about it this week. So just because I'm not doing my regular LinkedIn Live, something special is still happening in August. So I'll share that in a couple of days, let everybody know. And then we'll be back here right after Labor Day with the next round of lives. And we've already rolling into September, and all the folks hopping on and being on the schedule then. So that'll be fun. But anyways, thanks all, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.